broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you.
How long should we keep doing this for? Hey everybody, and welcome to the SNL After Show. If you didn't watch the show, then we will look like insane people. But then if you didn't watch the show, you're probably not here. So, what a great start. Hey guys, welcome to the SNL After Show. It is a pleasure to be here. We had Matthew McConaughey and Adele in this episode. We love doing this after show for you guys, and make sure you download it on iTunes. We've got SoundCloud, on YouTube, whatever it is. Give us a good rating. If you don't like us, just go away, basically. But no, I'm very excited to be here. It's a long time between Sundays, it feels.
It feels like forever time.
It does. Let me introduce my panel would be a good start. First of all, I'm Kim Crossman. You can find me at Kim Crossman.
I'm Amy Maestri. You can find me at Amy Maestri.
And I'm Katie Wilbert, and you can find me at Katie Wilbert.
Gosh, we've really kept it simple, haven't we?
Really
Just
creative.
at and then our names. We did well. So this was an interesting episode. You know, coming off the back of last week's episode, which I thought was pretty amazing. This one, in my opinion, was not. Katie? I'm going to throw to you. And, I mean, let's not just throw it under the bus. There were some good moments. I think as a whole, it was definitely a step back from last week.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really thought everyone went out there, and they played ball. But, you don't always win. And it's still enjoyable to be at the game, but sometimes you're a little disappointed in your son because you know you could have run faster,
I've never heard you do a sporting reference before. I'm like, where is she going with this?
That's a little how I felt about.
Sure.
It was like Little League baseball when you're like, you can do it, champ, and you still enjoy it and you have so much positive energy, but you're like, it just maybe we didn't win this time.
Sure. Amy?
Katie just crushing the metaphors.
Yeah, right?
How do I follow that?
I don't know. Please use another sporting reference.
So,
It's like volleyball.
Yeah. I agree with all of her sports references, oddly enough. Yeah, it was hit or miss. I think there's a lot of moments in it where I was like, oh, there's a saving grace moment, because that's a funny line in a poorly written sketch overall. So I think they're little nuggets within it, which Matthew McConaughey would probably enjoy that reference of nuggets.
He would.
Ew.
He would.
Marijuana. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the three of us too, we're positive people who go in every week being like, guys, it's great, yeah, and of course, not everyone, you're not going to knock everyone out of the park. More sports references. Here we are.
So we basically know so much about baseball.
Yes. But let's start with the cold open, Fox and Friends. Now, I've seen them do this a couple of times. I did enjoy this. I did. What did you think, Amy?
Yeah, I liked it. I always think it's funny when they do Fox and Friends. There's never been one, I think, that they've really knocked it out of the park. But it's always funny to me. It's always consistent. The way that they poke fun at things while also just kind of making it silly and kind of random, and bringing in the impressions too. Of course, oh my God, Jay Pharoah's Ben Carson is just
let's all do his hands. Yes.
And when he closes his eyes and doesn't talk about, but he's talking about being angry.
Yeah. Is this something the pan? I'm doing it to this camera, so hopefully it gets picked up. Where the eyes stay on and the head moves. Is that an actual ism?
Yeah, Ben Carson's a weird. He's sort of oddly
it was the eye
not
thing.
Motionless, but he's so calm.
Yeah, it's like a creepy robot or something where only he'll have weird movements where his whole body will be still, but then his head will start to turn, and you're just
weird.
why are you doing that right now?
Yeah.
I love his. I think Jake Farrow does a great job at that.
Yeah,
I
and
think so
I thought
too.
Kate McKinnon was great in it too. Now, the moment that we all like in the sketch when it's been done before is the fact checks, and they kind of just did it as a throwaway, which is a bit disappointing. Did you feel the same way, Kitty?
Yeah, I always like the fact check moment. I wish that they had done it. Hindsight, though, now that we're talking about it, I think maybe they didn't do it because they wanted to focus more in on the topical aspect of the Syrian refugees and stuff that they were actually talking about in the sketch. So I wonder if maybe that was it, to not take away from what
Sure.
the joke was really about. But I was looking forward to it, so...
I like. Was there a joke or a line in this that you like? I liked the Friday the 13th, Black Friday, like all Fridays matter thing. I actually didn't. I thought that was quite clever. That didn't come across my mind previously. So either I'm stupid or I was like, oh, that's funny. Yeah,
I hadn't thought of it.
we're gonna go with I'm stupid.
before.
Great.
Well, yeah, I liked the black, or no, the Friday, all Fridays matter. And I liked them showing the hordes of people during Black Friday and being like, oh, wait, no, those aren't Syrian refugees. Those are Americans at Black Friday. And I thought, yeah.
I don't know, and I'm just thinking about this now. I felt like the umbrella of the episode was that kind of everyone's beliefs are a bit stupid and out of place. Like, as a general consensus, like last week, I didn't feel like there was one maybe theme that umbrellaed all of the sketches, but now that I'm thinking about it, kind of the theme is that every kind of playing on all these like keyboard bashers who have all these opinions this week, you know, off the back of what happened in Paris and other things, and how everyone has an opinion and is ranting about stuff. It feels like the tone of this episode was more based around just
Yeah. I think it was
stupid people with a
necessary.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt very necessary just watching anything on the news in the past couple weeks. It's just been ridiculous. And whether, like, regardless of how I fall politically, like watching someone who is running for president being like, you know what we should do is make people wear badges, and then we can tell what religion they are so we can let them in or not in a country. And I'm like, hi, Hitler, what? No. Like, so I think it was too easy. It was right there. It's like to not make jokes about it and have that be an overarching theme would be to go, we weren't existing in the last week.
Yeah, the political climate, I mean, it's pretty much writing itself lately.
Yeah.
With everything going on. But I think, yeah, there was a lot of, like, predictable humor in this one.
Yes.
But it was still funny. Like, it was well done, even though it was, like, predictable a lot of times, I think, in this one.
So we move on to Matthew McConaughey coming in as a monologue. So we'll start with his monologue. Thoughts?
We're giggling.
Yeah. We're all like,
I'm going to be honest. I didn't understand the point of it. I was expecting at some point for John Rudnitsky. Oh my God, I can't say his name. Rudnitsky?
Yes.
Rudnitsky.
Rudinsky.
I'm so sorry, John. We think you're great. I was expecting him to come out and do his amazing Matthew McConaughey impression, because so often they'll have a really good impressionist come out and do a monologue with a celebrity guest. That didn't happen. And so then as they kept going on with the monologue, I was trying to get ahead of it and be like, oh, maybe this is going to happen. Like, maybe the character he's talking about in his story will come out and be the director. No, it was just this long ass story that I didn't understand what the point was, to then be like, we've got a great show. And we talked about it too. It was interesting watching Matthew McConaughey, similar to Donald Trump, in that they've become so satirized in our culture that now watching them is actually like watching someone impersonate them. They're so physically specific.
from he does the ring spin. Did you notice that
The ring
too?
was killing me. He just every 2 seconds
He's
was
just spinning
the
his ring.
Yeah.
You didn't notice that?
No, it's just his like physicality and the way he moves his face forward and stuff.
Are
like,
you a Matthew McConaughey fan?
I am, yeah.
Yes.
I don't dislike him by any means. I feel like I've seen all of his movies, and I saw True Detective. I have a different opinion on True Detective. Like, it's great, but he's so himself in that. I don't know. He's fascinating to
Do
me.
you like him?
I do. And I feel like this monologue was a story you tell in an interview.
Yes.
Like, this was a great anecdote to tell Jimmy Kimmel, you know, because it's like an interesting story, like, oh, that's where all right came from. But like, it needed jokes because it's a monologue done in a comedy television show. So I felt like it could have worked if they just interjected more jokes or did have someone come out to do an impression, like to kind of poke fun at it. But yeah, it just seemed more like a really long story that you would tell in an interview, not for a monologue.
Yeah, I mean, so, kind of new to the stand-up world. Katie and I have taken some classes. I know that you started in stand-up, and one of the stand-up formats is storytelling. And I think that I lend myself to that. And I was watching this, and I was like, oh, shit, is this what my stand-up is? Like, it's just stories that are not... I mean, it was funny, but it felt like a resume story. You're right. It felt like the
interview story of like, oh, I'd love to tell you how you got on this show. Yeah. It wasn't that it was bad. 15 seconds you weren't laughing at something you related to. Yeah. I felt like it was a 2-minute thing that I was waiting to get to the punchline, and there wasn't really one. And while it was enjoyable in the sense of like, oh, interesting fact to know, for a comedy sketch hour, it felt out of place.
So... we'll move on from Matthew McConaughey's monologue.
It was confusing.
It was confusing to everybody. So the next one is that we move on to is Adele Saves Thanksgiving. Now, this sketch probably had the most heat on Twitter from people just reposting it and thinking that Adele Saves Thanksgiving is like this whole movement in of itself now, which is phenomenal. I loved this. I thought it was executed well. I thought that it had a good 3, almost 4th beat of layering of intensity, relatable to a point, and yeah, I liked how they tied Adele in to it as well as an overrock. What did you think, Amy?
Yeah, I think like you said, like the layers that they brought into it, where I think right away they started off strong because they actually jumped right into the jokes immediately, like the awkwardness of like a horrible family all coming together to talk and disagree on everything. But then when they got into the Adele stuff, and it was layered so well of just them singing the first time, and then the second time like getting more into it and standing, and then the nails, and then the morphing into Adele, like it was really, really well done.
What do you think, Kitty?
Loved it. Thought it was the best show of the night, sketch of the night. I think what I really liked about it was that it was so relatable. You've got these family members that you know you're gonna see during the holidays, and you know their political opinions, or just the weird things that they say always, like don't bring up prostate stuff at the dinner table.
Always talking about this is a warning for Katie's family going into the holidays.
Please don't bring up your prostate. Like on a separate occasion where it's appropriate, like maybe we can have that chat and I'll be like so sympathetic and really I'll listen. But when I'm like trying to get into my turkey bits, I don't want to think about your, scrotal area. So I just really related with it. I'm so sorry that I just said scrotal area.
That you said it after turkey bits also doesn't
we're gonna Jonathan, our producer, are we doing okay? Are we allowed to say turkey bits and scrotal area in the same sentence?
Can I say turkey?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. Great, perfect. Our producer Jonathan, everyone. Yay!
Approved it. So I found it relatable, and I loved the wackadoo nature of it. I thought it was really silly and fun, and it didn't need a lot of explaining. I think everyone knows the song, and you could just like fall into the sketch and be happy watching it, and that's how I felt. It was just easy to watch and like a warm hug.
I liked it.
It made me think of when it was Emma Stone hosted, and they did the Someone Like You sketch where they're all just start breaking into like crying and like eating the ice cream and like crying in the office. So they're really good at poking fun at Adele songs and how they make us feel everything.
Yeah, I think
so many
that's
feels.
Why everyone listens to them and can relate to what she's making everyone feel. So maybe kudos to Adele for...
I think she's great.
Yeah.
Just to be able to connect a world like that in such times.
Thanks to Adele.
I wanted to salute.
Yeah. The Adele salute. We salute you. The next sketch was Sing the Blues. Now, I thought it was going to do something similar, like when I was like, oh, this is the same setup as the Donald Trump thing, and then it will go to him, and it kind of did. It's taking that game or whatever. This was probably my favorite bit that included Matthew McConaughey in it. Sketch-wise. Oh, sorry. I like the Adele one, but where he actually was, adding value, the focus was on him. I thought he added a lot of value to this. It's not my favorite thing, but I thought, out of the realm of sketches this evening. It was one of the better ones. What do you think, Amy?
I think as far as he goes, I agree. Like, he was very strong in this. I loved his delivery. The only time I was laughing in the sketch was at him.
Yes.
Everything. So basically, like, he should have just come out and done this character. 'Cause
Yes.
he made me laugh a lot. The sketch as a whole, I wasn't a huge fan of, but I think his delivery on it is what kind of landed for me.
Mm-hmm. Katie?
It was interesting to me to have a big ensemble like that and not utilize them more. I know what sketch you're talking about from the Trump episode. I also thought it was going to be the same thing and same joke. It wasn't, but similar layout with it being a band and a lot of people on stage. So I think it's interesting when you have that many people on stage and don't really use them, I guess. But it wasn't necessary, but like what you're saying, that it could have just been Matthew McConaughey doing this guy who doesn't know how to do the blues and then seeing it escalate the way it did. Because I think the purpose and the joke of the sketch actually worked.
It didn't need the fluffing of Kenan,
Yeah, I think maybe that's what wasn't, like, didn't round it out.
I did like the gag on, and, you know, we've been shooting all day doing something about, like, 20-somethings and the problems. So I felt like we were right in that comedy of people who are like, oh, my life, when it's stupid.
Yeah, he's like talking about fantasy football, and the other guy's talking about like his house was wrecked the day after he built it in Hurricane Katrina. And I looked at Amy and I was like, ow, can you talk about that? People's lives were ruined. She just liked to be like, Katie, it's comedy. But I was like, I don't know, the blues.
I'm feeling into it. That's so funny. So yeah, we're good with that. Next one was Bioprint. I liked the premise of this. I thought it was really clever. I thought Matthew McConaughey was good in it. I feel like the beat played out. I loved it when he danced and stuff. I liked the idea of this. I don't know why I'm not more excited about it, because now thinking back, I'm like, oh yeah, it was funny. But yeah, I'm not sure. I kind of on the fence for some reason. Maybe you can help me.
Yeah, I think.
Could you help me? Can you push me either way? help me dissect this. I mean, right? It had good, funny moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I always like things like this that are just weird. That you're just kind of like, I don't totally know what's happening right now, and it's just a weird premise and a weird idea. I tend to like things like that. And I think that's where the comedy came for me. It was in the lines that, like, not so much just the idea of that he's, like, this weird guy, but, like, the lines that they gave this weird, not human. Like, when he said,
did you write down all the bananas? Oh, my God. That's literally what I wrote down.
was the
All
first
the
one.
bananas was so good.
That was the first one out of the gate that was wackadoo, too.
Which was perfect, and
Yeah.
I think it set up the game of it, which was great. I think maybe, and I don't want to speak for all of us, but I think as soon as she said we've created the first human, I was like, okay, I know what the game is. I think I tried to be a step ahead of him again. Only this time, I feel like you knew what was going to happen, and then when the audience member was like, it's obviously him, and it was him, I was like, oh, yeah. So I guess for me, what felt like was missing is it seemed like it wanted to have a right turn, and there never was one. So as soon as they're like, there's someone on the stage who's not a human, and then the one guy who says not human-sounding stuff is then pointed out as a human, and they're like, yeah, you're right. You're like, oh, yeah, well, we all...
It would have been funnier if it was like one of the other guys.
That's what I was waiting for, and I was kind of like excited for them to trick me, and then I wasn't tricked, and then I was like, oh, okay.
You're right. That's it. I think if it had been one of the other guys, then Matthew McConaughey is just some weird dude that you're like,
so much funnier.
It's so much funnier.
Yeah, I wanted that so bad. Him being like, I eat all, or I like all the bananas. Like his sentences were so wackadoo, and I loved it so much that if he wasn't a robot, I'd be like, this dude's the best.
He's way better. Yeah, I agree. Because I wrote down, how could we fix this? Like, what, it's all very well us going like, nah, I didn't like that. But, if we're writers and we're comedians too, like, what would we have done differently? And I think it's always important that if something isn't great, we have an idea of how we'd fix it. So we're like The Voice or American Idol. That's basically what we are. We're like, that was great, but... I don't know where I went with
Who's Paula?
that. Yeah, who are we?
Who's doing the drunk clapping?
I did write Team America on it. I felt like the way he was moving reminded me. Good physicality from Matthew McConaughey. I thought his walking was very, very funny.
His little butt waddle.
And the second you saw everyone again, you already knew it was him because when you saw all three of them, the other two are just sitting there, and then he's like crazy-eyed, like staring at the camera.
It would have been so much funny if one of the other guys was the robot.
I would have loved
Good
that
job,
so
Kitty.
much. It's okay. I guess that's why you need me on the show.
Yeah, there you go. As I'm going through these, there were some good highlights. This next sketch for me, the Star Wars casting one, was I loved this. This and the Adele one, I think, were standouts for me. I don't know if it's just because I'm an actor, so I look at things through a specific lens, but anytime that they did like the theater sketch last week or this audition one this week, I'm already gonna laugh because I'm like, it's funny because it's true. Like, yeah, I thought these auditions were great. What a great way to include a bunch of guests and additional people. Big shout out to John Hamm, Michael Bublé, and Emma Stone. They got the biggest round of applause from the three of us. I did think, though, wouldn't you put Matthew McConaughey in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird to me, unless it was pre-recorded because of time or whatever. But
I was waiting
surely,
for John's impression of him. I didn't even want him in it. I wanted John's impression of him.
Yeah.
And I get it because he's still a newbie, and it's like you got to put in your time. But at the same time, you've got this guest, and he does his impersonation of him from True Detective so well. If you haven't seen it, go look up John Rudensky's YouTube and watch it because it's brilliant. And I was so like itching for it. And we did get to see him who was he?
Oh, in this?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I saw him.
Yeah, he was in it, and he was very funny. We laughed out loud. It'll come to me. We'll come back to it.
Oh, my gosh. Anyways, I really wanted to see him as Matt. That's all I wanted to see. The whole episode was John Rudensky be Matthew McConaughey, and I didn't get it, so a little upset, but it's fine.
I thought that every single character in this was spot on and brilliant. We laughed at every single one.
Yeah, I always love when they do these because it's such a good vehicle to just like have them do these impressions. And I thought this one was the most interesting because they had the split of people doing impressions and then the actual celebrities coming in, which they usually don't do that. I feel like usually in these kind of sketches it is just solely for impressions, but like seeing the actual like actors come in was a lot of fun.
Was he John Mayer?
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
It's like I'm listening to you, and then through my head, I've got like all these. For some reason, they were like Tinder swipe rights, but they were just celebrities.
I saw
my brain is
there.
an interesting place. Let me tell you that. Yeah, I thought I don't know, that and the Adele sketch from you were my favorites tonight. Is that we all?
Yeah, I really like this.
I really liked it.
We then have Adele, and we'll talk about both of her performances. Thoughts?
Whew. God, I love her.
Her voice, right?
Oh, I love her so much.
It doesn't need anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought, the lighting, everything was great. I mean, she sounds phenomenal. I don't really know what else you say except well done.
That's what I love about, like, with her voice being so good, it doesn't need anything. I can't even remember. It was a few years back, and it was at, like, some award show, like, I think one of the MTV ones, and all of the productions, like, all the musical numbers were, like, crazy, over the top, like it was like circus acts. And then Adele came out with a spotlight and a piano and just sang. And it was by far my favorite of the night. And I think a lot of people are saying the same thing because she doesn't need everything else. She's
way
just
more
so good.
powerful choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is that thing of it's odd when someone's so good, once they come on stage and they're expectedly good, you're like, I don't know. Yeah, because how you can only be wowed so much, right? Because she's amazing. We all know she's amazing. I just recently watched Jurassic World. That's a whole other conversation, but some
Adele
Nothing to do with this, but
it ties in.
I would have loved you to just finish. And I recently watched Jurassic World. Scene.
It totally ties in. Because at one point, she's like, we have to invent this giant new crazy dinosaur because the dinosaurs no longer impress anyone. And it's like, they should because they're effing dinosaurs, right? But then they invent this crazy one that kills everyone. And it's like, oh, we should have just been content with dinosaurs because they're enough. I felt like this was a similar moment for me because I'm like, I know she's so good.
Yeah.
But I'm not I wasn't like wowed. I was just like, yeah, I expect you to be good, and there you are being good.
Because you're always going to be good.
Yeah, like,
Sure.
I can't explain it other than the metaphor I just gave you about dinosaurs.
He's a good
And
one.
she recently watched Jurassic World. Hey, what a great segue. I've been significantly average on my segues tonight. I'm like, cool, we're done with that. The next one.
Been really on point.
Weekend update. I need like a transition or a star wipe. Jonathan, can we add star wipes into these?
That's a no.
It's negative.
We'll do, I'll
I
do
can do
a
a fade.
Oh, great.
But not a
Perfect.
fade from black, just a fade from them to you.
Great. And I'll just be ready, waiting.
The slowest one.
With the creep eyes ready and waiting.
Da-da-da-da. So, slow fade, we'll all imagine a star wipe. Weekend update. I just feel like they're my little friends. And I'm like, you guys did another good job.
Don't you just want to like cuddle with them? Naked. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Really appropriate. I just, every time.
Katie wants a weekend update sandwich.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
It sounded like
Yep.
maybe the way you said it, I would like refute it, but
Nope.
no, I do want that.
That is the truth.
She's just letting everyone know so you can, any fans out there who like really love us, it would be a gift for Christmas if you're like figured out.
Did you have a favorite joke from the site or from Weekend Update?
I really enjoyed the Syrian jokes. The Syrian
Most of them were.
were about that. But when they had the split screens of the countries, there were jokes in there about it. And now I can't remember the specifics.
Like that we're all immigrants and
There
stuff.
it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being in my brain and
I was
saving
there.
it.
I'm in there.
Well, they were using some good metaphors too, so I think maybe that's where the
They
metaphor
probably recently
train
saw
started.
Jurassic World and they're like, oh wait, so the Syrian refugee crisis is like Jurassic World because we all were dinosaurs at one point and now we don't want you to be.
That's it.
Exactly right.
I feel like, we were talking about this last week too. Like, the more you get into comedy, you become desensitized. And I have a bit of a segue to go into something that you posted on Facebook this week. But I feel like I'm recently noticing I laugh the most at the most offensive things.
Yeah.
Like a normal joke, meh. Of an offensive joke.
Yeah.
Like the Subway joke about like that Jared the Subway guy got 15 years, but he was happy he's down with anything under 18.
Loudest laugh.
Yeah,
We all laughed, and I know the audience booed it, and I
didn't
yelled
they?
at the audience from the couch just because
Yeah.
I was upset with them for booing that joke because it's funny.
So this is something I want to talk about. Now, you posted on Facebook this week something about you might be able to be more specific about it, but it was about the Zoolander thing. So the Zoolander trailer for the second movie came out, and it's caused a huge backlash because there is a transgender character in it. As in, and now I can't remember his name.
Yeah, Cumberbatch. He's he plays a transgender character, and it's getting a ton of backlash because of like the portrayal of it.
Right. So it's in a trailer. It's only a couple of seconds, and obviously it's not an accurate portrayal or something like that. And I'm not sure. And I guess we're walking a fine line here, but obviously not out there to offend anyone. I don't think Zoolander is out there to offend anyone. But you brought up a good point about everyone just needs to calm their tits about comedy being comedy and what its place is. Now, I completely understand that it's not nice if you feel like you're being what would be the right wording for this?
Like attacked or made fun of?
Attacked or made fun of. I just don't think that's the intention for this. And I think a lot of the time comedy is like, that's what we're doing. We're making fun in good faith. And I feel like being in the comedy world, I understand that. But perhaps there obviously is a community of people who, and not just about this incident specifically, there's been a huge, there's been memes with Paris Hilton this week being like, thanks for all the wishes, guys, that people are posting. So there's like
as we talk about it, I'm like, maybe.
Yeah. So there's certain things that kind of do this, but I just wanted to kind of like, I don't know.
I just think comedy is meant to be cathartic.
Yes.
It's whole purpose, and we're all going to laugh at different things, and that's okay. And I think part of what makes Western society, and specifically America, and what we pride ourselves on as Americans is living in a country with different ideals. And I think people get really shitty at other people who don't laugh at the same stuff. We like to shake our fists at each other because we don't want to be mad at someone. And I just think we're making our lives way more complicated. And comedians' jobs are to go, wow, this was a really hard week. We're here to make you laugh. And sometimes we're going to make you laugh about stuff that makes you feel weird for laughing at it, but you need to. We all need to laugh at weird, horrible things sometimes, because otherwise life is too serious and hard to deal with, I think. If you don't have to laugh at it, if it doesn't tickle you, but if you need to laugh at something crazy and bad, someone should not be shaming you because of it, is my opinion, because we all release in different ways. I release by laughing at, I guess, child predator jokes because it's so terrible to me that I don't know how, like, I feel defenseless because I'm like, how can I help anyone who's like a sex slave or someone who's been molested? I don't know how to help you. And it's not helping by, I'm not laughing at it, but it's like, that's where the laughter comes from, because you're like, ow, it hurts, so let me get it out of me. I think that's its
it
point,
just seemed to
right?
come at an interesting time because this whole week a lot of things have happened, and this episode of SNL specifically is really focused on the keyboard warriors and everyone, like the whole theory behind changing your Facebook profile picture to a filter, but how are you really helping kind of mentality has been the tone of the week. And then the Zoolander came out, and then it's just like another thing everyone's fighting about, and I'm sure there's been countless events. This was just one specific one.
Yeah, I think it's just people. Someone is always going
These are
to
also
find
our
things.
opinions.
Yeah.
You guys are happy to contest us. Please do.
Yeah. I just feel like someone is always, no matter what you say, someone will probably will take offense to it, no matter what it is. And it's all like very personal to you. So, I mean, one joke could be completely offensive to someone and not to another, just like anything else. So, I mean, like, I just think, comedy is meant to be comedy. It's not in a documentary. It's not in like propaganda to make people think their views. And especially a movie like Zoolander. That shit is so goofy.
I feel like, if we're gonna,
Ben Stiller's humor
one of the
is
silliest movies ever.
Yeah.
And
It's like the king of wackadoo.
Yeah.
let comedy be
I just feel
comedy.
like it would be sad if, we get to a place where everything, we have to be so careful and so PC, because, like, I don't think I would find that funny, and that's not the comedy I want to live in. I don't want to be offending everyone. That's not my intention ever, to offend everyone. But I think, you have to push the boat out a little bit and try different things to get a laugh.
If you don't laugh at things, like, you're just, like, you have to make light of certain things. Otherwise, everyone's just going to be miserable.
That's something I really liked about the people I talked to in Israel when I was there, is there had been...
Nice throw-in.
I traveled to Israel. And I don't
I'm
know,
a world
I don't know
traveler.
if I talked about this last week or not,
No.
but there had been a terrorist attack, basically, in Israel, and people's reaction was to laugh about it, because that's what they know on a regular basis. It happens very frequently, and it's obviously something that's topical and happening to more people in more places in the world. God forbid it becomes something regular to where people are just like, it's what happens, because that's frightening. But that's the world that these people in this town knew, and they were making jokes about it because they're like, what else are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
It's either we laugh at this thing that's so horrible we can't comprehend, or we let it kill us inside our souls, and that's what the goal is. So I think, if you want to laugh at something bad, laugh at it. Don't beat yourself up about it. And if you want to beat someone up who laughs at something, don't.
And that's our tagline for the episode. Hey, Jonathan, did you have anything to weigh in on that? Because we were obviously three girls with a similar opinion.
Yeah, I'm extremely offended
Okay, great.
by every bit of it. Just all
You're
of it.
welcome.
Shit.
Completely
This
offended.
is our last show, everyone.
I have
Another
actually
salute.
stopped the stream. The show
Great.
is actually, you guys have
Perfect.
just been talking to each other.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Well, see, that's the beauty of America, isn't it? That we all have differing
Yeah.
opinions, and your opinion is very
do
validated.
you have a stance on it? I think it would be good for you to weigh in.
I do. I mean, the reality is comedy is basically, most comedians are like making fun of their own life.
Yes.
So it's cathartic. I mean, you guys have pretty much hit the nail on the head. I mean, I agree with you.
Okay, thank you.
We didn't pay him to say that.
Did we knock it out of the park, as we may say?
No.
It's like a little league baseball game.
You
Comedy.
hit the ball off the tee.
Great.
Thank you.
You guys, we hit a ball off a tee. Got it. Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate it. All right, so let me do another great segue with a star wipe that doesn't exist to should I chime in on this? That is the section, the next one we're going to. We're going to go there next. And the answer is no.
No.
Yeah. Did you like this one?
Well, first of all, I
Or
got excited.
how would you make it better then?
Yeah, first of all, I got excited because they said Ellen DeGeneres, so I thought Kate was going to come out and do her Ellen DeGeneres, and then Kenan came out, and I got very upset. But yeah, I think it was a really funny idea, again, with like the theme of the night, kind of being like people who need to chime in too much. I don't know that it really escalated properly. I think this is one that could have gone further, like we're saying too. Like I think this could have really pushed some boundaries a lot harder than it did. So I think by just having them escalate a little bit further and have them actually touch on like some stronger subjects too, I think would have helped.
Do I know this person? No. Should I say anything? No. But am I near my computer? Yes. I thought that was a great way to set it up. But yeah, you're right. It could have gone.
Yeah, and 80 makes me laugh in pretty much everything that she does. So again, like her moments, I think her beats were probably the strongest for me. And you know, I mean, just Kenan is always Kenan doing a character. I've never seen him do a character or an impression where I'm like, oh, that's a character or an impression. It's always Kenan doing something, and it drives me very much insane. And I think again in this it was again, you're just like, oh, it's Kenan doing a thing right now.
I will say about Kenan, he has a lot of energy.
Yes.
If there's one thing about him, I feel like he has a stage presence and he's always on. And ready and energized, and I think that is something that he brings to the cast. And that anything, whereas you have someone like the Good Neighbor guys, who are, it's just a different style of comedy, and they're so great in a different way, but I wouldn't call them like big energy people by any means. But I think that's something that Kenan brings to the cast, is that he's like always alive. He's like,
yes, he is.
Good job, Kenan. You're alive.
Oh my gosh. I didn't mean it like that.
That was so much meaner than anything I've ever said about Kenan.
My metaphors are crashing and burning on me now. He's like a baseball that you hit out there and it goes far.
No, keep going. What else is he like? New choice. What else is he like? New choice.
He's like a unicorn.
New choice.
He's like a cloud.
New choice.
Oh my god, you guys, I'm so sorry.
Went from he's a breathing human, good job, to he's an inanimate object like a baseball.
I said unicorn.
We're just messing
They're
with
paying
you.
me out.
It was fun though. Improv games.
I just think he's always energetic, and I think that's very nice. However, with regards to the sketch, felt like the premise was there. Feel like it didn't like activate for some reason. Like the things were being said, but it didn't ignite in a way that I was like, ooh, yay, I'm tickled.
What would have been great, I almost think, and this is something that we saw a whole show based around at Fringe in Edinburgh, when Katie and I went to Edinburgh. Let's just drop that in there. We're
So
world
we went to
travelers.
Israel, and then we went to Scotland.
Where wouldn't it have been funny for them to almost read out, you know how like people do that in shows, we saw this, like read out actual comments of things that people actually say about things. I feel like that would be a great way to one up this, of like people actually reading out
real tweets and stuff from the internet.
Like people being, because I feel like the topics were almost there. You're right. I don't know. That's just one way I feel like they could have taken this premise so much further, because what's actually out there is almost funnier than they were not quite on the line.
Or
of
even
what
if they were
say.
tweet, like if their responses had to be via tweet and then they popped up, I think it would go with the idea of
that keyboard warrior thing.
I mean, you guys have definitely had people on the internet say weird stuff to you, right?
Oh, yes. I once posted a picture and someone was like, I had like a nose ring, real or fake, I put on there. And someone goes, fake, like your fake face and your fake heart. I was like, what? Like, sorry, Wendy and Hamilton, I don't know what I did to offend you so much, but ow, I read this? Like, what? Anyway, that got personal and not necessary, and we have to wrap up.
Well, I just want to say to Wendy and Hamilton, I think that I'm sending you love.
There we are. We're gonna
Because
send love.
I don't know what it's like to spend my time hating someone else that I don't know for
A lot of energy
no
put
reason,
into
really.
strangers trying
so
to
weird.
put down other strangers because they have nothing else to do.
Is that what we do here?
No. I mean,
this
you
is
did
different.
call Kanan.
I didn't mean it like that. He's energetic.
No, we're joking with you. He's
like
lovely.
a
We
home
love
run
him.
baseball is what I was trying to say, but I couldn't get it out because I was being made fun of.
Oh, we were making fun. So there were 2 other sketches in the night we're going to brush over very quickly because that's how it felt a little bit, and not because we didn't love the people. It just, the town hall thing, I felt like it was the same joke as in the right side of the bed. It's Matthew McConaughey pulling focus, being weird, kind of being sort of sexual with a turkey.
Ew,
And one of them,
he was
the other
fisting
one,
a turkey, and it was uncomfortable.
it was
to watch.
uncomfortable, and then this town hall thing was like, it had some funny one-liners in it, but yeah, I just feel
A lot
like
of energy, but it felt like the energy was like all across the stage. Like, ooh,
Yeah.
put it in one place and let's direct it.
Yeah.
and the difference between this week's episode and last week, I felt like last week we were in safe hands and carried through and it was seamless, and this week it kind of felt like we've got Matthew McConaughey as a guest, let's try throw some lines to him. It didn't quite work necessarily, or maybe it's just his tone of humor didn't tickle me right, so it just felt like they were trying to carry him.
Tickles.
Tickle. I was not tickled. Let me say tickle some more. But this is something that's new to the show that we're doing, is nominating our most valuable player for the week. Katie, who would you like to nominate?
I'm gonna nominate Adie Bryant.
Cool. Couple of reasons why.
A couple of reasons why is her facial expressions were on point this week. And she just tickled me.
She did. There you go. Amy?
I'm going with Vanessa Bayer in this one. That's my girl, and actually, who we didn't talk about this in Update. Her character, the child that always does like theater, and I love this character because it is just like the kids that like really overdo everything in theater and over enunciate and really get into it. And I've never seen her do it in Update or like as just a standalone character. It's usually been done as a sketch. And I really, really loved it in this format of just having her come on and comment on awful, awful things as the sweet, naive little theater child. Because actually one of the first times I saw her do this was in stand-up. She was performing in Brooklyn, and I saw her do this character. And I've always loved it in just that format of just a straight-on character. So I think getting to see her do it in Update was great. And she's always just such a good supporting player. In any scene that she's in, she always adds something to it, but she doesn't pull focus if she doesn't need to.
Yeah.
So she's so solid all around, and I thought it was a good episode for her.
Awesome. I will agree with both of you. I will nominate Kate McKinnon because of her Ed Sheeran impersonation, which was really well done at a bad impersonation, dude, and especially even her kind of fall out of frame. That made me laugh because I think it's very rare that she'll do the bad version of the good, and then she did a 1-second Star Wars thing in the thing. So, and you know, it's something that we always say, she only needs to be on screen for a second and nails it. But I liked what she did with the Ed Sheeran thing, and yeah, I think your bad impersonation, which is an interesting choice for her. Usually she just commits 110%, and this is the first time I saw her do a halfway one that worked well.
Yeah.
So.
She's
I like that.
a queen.
So yeah, that was our show. I think we had highs and lows ourselves. We went in and out of some emotions. Jonathan, what did you think? How do you think we did?
I was just offended by the whole thing.
Great.
Good.
And that was obviously our goal.
That was our
you're
goal.
Welcome, America.
We're done here.
But yeah, that was our show. We had a lot of fun talking
were
to you
so
guys
many
this
giggles.
week. We had a good
Lots
time.
of giggles. I feel tickled.
There you go. We are not here next week. There's a week off. Is it 1 week off, I think, for SNL? So you guys will miss us next week. We know it. But we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Kim Crossman. You can find me on all platforms at Kim Crossman.
I'm Amy Maestri, and you can find me at Amy Maestri.
And I'm Katie Wilbert, and you can find me at Katie Wilbert.
We have had a ton of fun. Make sure you download the podcast, rate us well, please, so we can keep doing the show. We have a ton of fun, and we will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye!
Bye!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.